Here with Princeton coach Chris Ayres. Coach, thanks for taking the time to weigh in with me today.
I'm glad to be here.
Coach, wanted to catch up with you, get a little early season assessment of how you feel the program is going, and what practices have been like, and what the first competitions have been like.
Practice has been great. I think coming off last season, we had a pretty good season. I really think Harner becoming an All-American has sort of elevated everyone's confidence, including himself. He's wrestling at a whole nother level. But I think a lot of guys are looking around and saying, why not me? And so that has led to pretty great preseason, to be honest with you. I was really happy with the attitude and the effort that was put forth. And this team is a great collective unit. They're all after the same thing. Our freshmen are just – I just love our freshmen. I mean, they came in and really got after it, and I've been really impressed with them. So preseason went well. Then we got into that tournament down in Virginia. That was something new for us. We were looking for something a little bit tougher, and then just like less teams that we're used to facing, less Ivies, less the Lehighs and whatnot of the world. So that was a great event. We had 5 in the semis, 2 champs, 1 second. Harner didn't wrestle. It was pretty cool. He was in the All-Star Classic. He wrestled number 2, Brett Farr.
Yep.
It was actually a great match. I'm really proud of him. He lost 7-4, but what we preach is you go out there and you get after it, and I felt like he did that. I felt like he really mixed it up, opened up. He lost, but he lost. It's not a big deal. It's early. And then, the tournament just really let us know where we stand, and you get nervous going into it. But for me, I left that tournament saying, okay, there's no major issues. That's what you feel good about. And everything was basically individual on the wrestling front. So, yeah, great start to the year. Great start.
Now, something that's caught a lot of people's eye is, I'm sure you don't even have to talk, Ian Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, nice coming out party for him. He wasn't not necessarily on the top of your list of guys who you thought were going to be starting. Looks like a hammer on top. Can you talk a little bit about his performance?
Yeah, so Ian's funny. He just had a shift of mindset really last spring. His first 2 years, he was sort of, he wasn't getting after it, to be honest with you. He was kind of was a state champ in California, super talented, had the pins record, but just maybe lacked a little motivation. Then in the spring, something happened. He decided he was going to go 84, and I think he saw an opening there as well. We had Abe there, and then we had Brett at 97. So obviously he was in a tough spot with his weight, but he decided, I'm going to change my attitude, change how I approach things, and the result was amazing. So, yeah, to say we're excited about him doing well is an understatement. Just because we didn't know that weight, we weren't sure what was going to happen. So I feel great with him at that weight, and yeah, he's good on top. Everyone's going to know it pretty quickly, but that's okay. It's a good thing. But you were surprised, so was I. But I'm really happy he is where he is. And that funny, he won that tournament, and he's wrestling at a whole new level now too. I think that just gave him permission to be like, hey, I can really beat a lot of good guys. So, and he got ranked right away, which is great.
Right. So he's about your size?
Oh, no, he's 84. I was 57, so I only weigh 70.
Right. Oh, 70? Is that what you weigh right now?
Yeah, 84. I used to tackle with those guys before, like the Harners and the Abes and the Bakers came, and I go nowhere beyond 174.
Okay. I'm just checking how sore you've been.
I'm sore. It doesn't need to make me sore.
Okay.
They all beat me up nowadays.
Well, you guys have a big match coming up with Rutgers, battle at the Birthplace on Saturday before Penn State-Rutgers football game. I want to talk just a little bit. So O'Donnell, medical forfeited out. Can you just tell me about your lineup going into the match and talk a little bit about it?
25 still up in the air a little bit between Matteo DiVincenzo and Taya Gazy.
Is that a wrestle-off situation or banged up?
It's funny. Ty was a little banged up, so he didn't wrestle at the South Virginia Tech tournament, Southeast Open, and then so then he wrestled the next weekend. Ty wrestled that weekend. So we're trying to give Matteo a chance to see where he stands, just because he was out for a little bit, and he did wrestle well at the Binghamton Open. So we're just kind of seeing how it goes in the room right now.
Okay.
33 Pat Darcy, 41 is going to be 41. Who's 41 going to be? Oh,
are you kidding me?
Matthew Kolodzic. I think people are looking forward to that match.
Should be a great match.
Jordan Laster will weigh in also. Max Rogers at 49.
Hey, can I ask you a question back to 41?
Sure.
Were you at Midlands with him last year?
We weren't with him technically just because we weren't allowed to coach him. He had gone by himself. But obviously I've watched all his matches and whatnot. It's funny. I hate to go back to that, but he kind of got a really bad call in the semis. He should have been in the finals.
Yeah.
So he beat Ashnault, and then he really should have been in the finals. Bad call, and then he dropped down. Then he lost to Ashnault right after the semis match.
Can you tell me what the difference in your perspective was between his first and the last placement match between the two?
Yeah, I think he was coming off a loss where he thought he was in the finals. It's tough. You lose that. It's tough when you lose that semifinals match. To come back because you think you're in the finals. We always try to really spend a lot of attention on a guy who loses in the semis on the backside, just because he's going to face a guy who's coming off a win.
Yeah.
So the guy might be have a little more confidence. So that turnaround is pretty hard. I think that had a little to do with it. The way the match went in the semis too was. I think he was a little bit left in the match that happened.
Okay.
He saw himself in the finals, but we watched the match too, and he just made a few tactical errors in that match too. And to Ashnault's credit, that kid he's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he made some adjustments from the first match that had a big impact in the second match. So it was a little bit of Ashnault making adjustments, but I think it was a little bit of Kolodzic not being ready to do it again.
Right.
And he'd beaten him. So he'd beaten him pretty bad in the winner's bracket. I think it was like 11-3 or something.
Yeah.
So I think maybe there was a little overconfidence there too.
Okay.
So he's ready now though.
Right.
And that was last year.
Right. Exactly.
We've moved on.
So 49 was maybe up in the air.
No, Jordan Laster will be 49. We have, and I think that's going to stick. They have some funny things going on with who they're putting out there right now to the public.
Yeah.
So we got to kind of be prepared to adjust to that a little bit. So we're going to wrestle. We're going to weigh in Max Rogers as well. He took third at Binghamton. So he's pretty good. Senior. Faced injury. He wrestled his freshman year, started for us. And then been hurt the other 2 years, and now he's a senior coming back, and he's doing a great job. We're going to weigh in two guys, too, at 57. It's going to be Lenny Merkin, who's a freshman from New York. And then we're going to have Mike D'Angelo, who's the EIWA qualifier. Again, they got some funky stuff going on, so we're just kind of preparing for all situations. Then at 65, probably Joe Tavoso.
Yep.
Or Chase Cabrera. Then after that, it's
does that depend on how the weigh-ins play out, or is that something in the room between now and then?
Pretty much what we see what they do, and then we'll react basically.
Okay.
I still have to play out a few things into my head with the staff, just if this and that. Kind of feels funny. I hate these situations, just because I feel like I'm in like a high school dual meet.
Right.
But you got to prepare. You got to prepare. And to Rutgers' credit, they're a great dual meet team. I mean, they're guys. He does a good job with those guys for dual meet. So I don't know what he's got in store, but we're going to be ready for it. 74 through heavyweights set: Schleifer, Baker, Harner, O'Donnell. O'Donnell had a little something. We knew we were going to pull him, so he had something going in.
Okay.
And we just wanted to make sure, and he looked great, by the way.
Yeah.
Like he 3 matches he didn't get scored on. So he would have won that tournament most likely if we kept him in, which is very tempting as a coach. But I think we made the total right move in pulling him when we did. But going in, we said 3 matches.
Gotcha. Now, you guys don't necessarily recruit for the exact same type of kid, you and Rutgers, but it is. I mean, this is a pretty awesome thing for the state of New Jersey. And so right now, to my understanding, it's about 14 or 15,000 tickets have been sold. Do you have any update on that?
Still about 14. I think I talked I traded emails with the ticket guy today. it's kind of stalled there a little bit, but I think everyone's planning on walking up now.
Okay.
The interesting thing is with the Iowa-Oklahoma State match, more than half of the 43,000 walked up. So
Interesting.
It is interesting. So we're at probably end up being close to 15, I think, pre-sale or pre-doors open.
Yep.
If we double that, which they did easily, we'd have 30. So it's going to be an incredibly, incredibly awesome environment. You speak to New Jersey, we are literally like 3 turns away from each other, and we've both been working on building a rivalry, which draws people. We want this to be a thing that continues, where it's Princeton and Rutgers, and that's the New Jersey rivalry, and so it's just a great event. And they worked hard for sure; it was their idea, but we hustled for the event as well. And the results are going to be it's amazing how many people have already got tickets.
So it looks like it's going to be a pretty, not just a big event, but it's going to be a close match. I mean, you guys are right, and that's why there's some of this chess maneuvering going on, right? Maybe some injuries too, but on their side, I'm not quite sure. I haven't talked to Coach Goodale yet. But are you treating it any differently because it's so early in the season? I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, this is not what you're peaking for.
Yeah,
but it's exciting.
We are. I mean, honestly, like we usually wrestle a tournament this weekend. So, but we always do like one weekend on, one weekend off, then a tournament. So we didn't really change much, but the conversation's a little bit different. And I had someone ask me yesterday, how do you get them prepared to push out all the people and just focus on the match because there's going to be so many people there? And I said, you don't push that out. I was like, you walk out there and you embrace that. That's like, these guys are going to get it. If we get 20,000, it'll be the second biggest dual meet ever in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be a part of that history. You have to go out there and say, you have to take in everything. It would be a disservice for me to say to them, just block it all out. Pretend you're in our wrestling room. You're not in a wrestling room. You're outside in a football stadium with 30,000 people watching, or however many are watching. So, the preparation isn't much different, but the conversation is. Everything else, usually during this time, we do 2 tournaments. We see where we stand, getting ready for dual meets. This is a big duel. I mean, this is big time. Other than our Ivy League schedule, when we have those matches, this is a huge match for us for sure. Actually, now that I think about it, they're all huge. We wrestle Nebraska in a couple weekends. We wrestle Maryland next weekend. We wrestle Lehigh in 3 weekends. Every weekend is tough the way we set up the schedule, and that's what we want.
Yeah, and who do you have at Grapple at the Garden? Do you have Cornell?
We have Maryland and Buffalo, and I don't know much about. I know their kids are tough. Like Buffalo, we haven't looked at them yet. I know Maryland a little bit just because I know Carrie and I kind of follow them.
Yeah. Just
because we coach together. So we're focused on this Rutgers match right now. Yeah. We haven't looked too far.
I got to say, the All-Star Classic, getting exposure with Brett, the battle at the Birthplace. I mean, this is great exposure for your program, not just wrestling, but I mean your program in particular has got to be. I mean, not to mention the quality you bring in. Are you getting more inquiries?
Yeah, I mean it's all by design. Our schedule, we do things a little differently. I think wrestling is so darn exciting. I think it's such an amazing sport. I think if you push it and you promote it correctly, I think you can get some great results. We have a team now that we can promote the heck out of. I mean, they're exciting. Our teams before were exciting as well. We just weren't as evenly exciting. We might have had an issue at a weight or an issue. We're solid. We're solid all the way through. And so right now we're in a phase of our program where we're trying to be – these guys think they can be top 10. And I think they can be top 10 too. And what we want is to continue to wrestle in great environments. This is the most amazing environment. I'm so excited. I cannot tell you how obsessively I've been like a weather forecaster. I can tell you which way the wind blows for the last 2 weeks.
Forecast looks good, doesn't it?
What?
Forecast looks good.
68.
68.
I mean, it's like it's
sunny.
Incredible. Like it's the warmest day of November. And it's sunny. It's crazy. So yeah. So yeah, we get more inquiries, heck yeah. And I think that we try to market ourselves and differentiate ourselves in a way that does get more inquiries. So yeah, it's great. It's so fun now.
Now, I couldn't get an answer. I know Penn State is doing pretty well, the football team. So
Yeah.
the game right after you, the football game, should have a lot of fans there. You would figure you'd be getting a lot of at the gate walk-ins, both
That's
sides.
that's what we hope. I think maybe even more on the Penn State side, just because they're such a knowledgeable fan base.
Yeah.
And this is stuff. We've worked with Rutgers a lot, and this was some of the stuff that came up in some of the marketing meetings. 100%, no doubt about it. Everyone who's going to that football game knows about our wrestling match. Rutgers, I'm impressed with how well they've done. The things that they've done to promote this have been really good. They are a top-notch marketing machine. And so for me, I feel super confident that, there's going to be fans that are going to be like, let's check this out. And so we're going to get a pretty good walk-up, especially because of the weather.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Like, I don't know what we're going to get. If we double, that'd be awesome. 30,000, it would be insane. So yeah, I think they know, and they might check it out as well.
Gotcha. Anything else, Coach, you want to tell us before we sign off?
No. Just I hope. Hey, if you don't have tickets for the Battle at the Birthplace, it's this Saturday at Rutgers Stadium, High Point Solution Stadium. It's at 11 a.m. You can walk up and get your tickets, or you can get them ahead of time. One thing I will say is plan on getting there early. I think the parking there is not good, so make sure you're there about. From what they're sending me, you got to kind of be there about 45 minutes early. So be on the lookout where to park and stuff if you do come, for sure.
Gotcha. All right, Coach. Well, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Hope we make some kind of history there, and
We will.
and it's going to be exciting. So definitely, if you're tailgating for Penn State Rutgers, make sure you get there. And it's worth a drive. It's worth a drive.
Absolutely. It's going to be great.
All right, Coach. I will see you Matt side.
Sweet.
All right.
Good talking to you.
Thanks for the time.
Yep.